Tired of long waits and rushed care at the ER and urgent care clinic? Next time, stay home and let Dispatch Health bring the power of the hospital to you.
I call Dispatch Health. A care team of medical professionals actually come to your house.
They're the same caliber of people that you would see if you were at a hospital or an urgent care.
Dispatch Health can treat most non-life-threatening emergencies.
They can do the x-rays, they can do stitches,
urinary tract infections, blood test, urinalysis, ultrasound.
It's almost everything that they can do at the ER.
You never feel rushed. They're there for you and only you.
I felt like their only patient.
And it costs no more than a trip to urgent care because Dispatch Health is covered by most insurance, including Medicare. See if we serve your home at dispatchhealth.com.
Dispatch Health really went above and beyond.
It's wonderful to have care come to your home.
House calls are back, and they're better than ever. Learn more at dispatchhealth.com.
We all have a lot on our plates. Work, kids, relationships. And sometimes it can be hard to just catch a breath. When life is go, 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 it matters where you stay. Hilton's family of brands is team members dedicated to making you feel truly cared for, so you can mentally check out before you even check in. Take the break you deserve and book your next stay on Hilton.com. Hilton, for the stay.
It didn't listen to me. It walked out of the thicket. It turned around and looked at me.
They looked up, and in this tree, there was a monkey man. And the monkey man jumped down out of the tree and started running away.
And suddenly, they're right in front of the car. He slams on the brakes and manages to stop. And he's skidding because it's like quite, gravelly. And literally for about a second and a half, they just stood there because they don't know where to go. And you tell them panicking, they're like really nothing. And their face is like twitching.
Welcome back to Bigfoot Society, a podcast where we focus on cryptids, the strange, and the unexplained of this world. If you've got a story or something weird to share, send an email over to me at bigfootsociety@gmail.com. And if you'd like to support this show, head on over to patreon.com/the Bigfoot Society. And now, on with the show. All right, thanks for coming back to another Bigfoot Society episode. This time we have a new friend, Larry Sidwell from West Virginia. How's it going, Larry?
Very good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Having a great central Iowa day, nice and windy, but the sun's out. I'm loving it. How's it over there in West Virginia?
It's warm, sunny, and windy also.
Gotta love it.
Trees are just now starting into peak around here, so it's really nice.
So I'm having you on today, Larry, because I got this crazy idea that it would be cool to chat with a few BFRO investigators. So I did some digging through the reports on BFRO.net. And the cool thing about that website is, it tells who the investigator was that was involved with the case. And so reached out to a few. You were nice enough to agree to coming on the podcast. And this is your first time chatting on a podcast, right?
Yes, it is. I'm excited.
That's awesome. The other cool thing about the BFRO is that they have a little write-up about the investigator. And man, I'm seeing you've gone, I would say at least 25 expeditions over the years, going back through 2012. It's pretty impressive.
Oh, thank you. I've got a few more I've got to add on. We just did a Pleasant Hill Lake thing with Map Moneymaker in Ohio.
Oh yeah.
We're drone flight, and I just got back from the Kentucky Bigfoot, the KBRO's expedition, and so when I leave 2 weeks, we're going to East Tennessee. Lori Wade has a expedition in East Tennessee. She always does 2 or 3 a year. So got more to do.
Wow, that's amazing. You are getting all over the place. I love that. I just actually talked to a gentleman from East Tennessee. He had some pretty wild stories. He had some folklore tales, and he was talking about, some sightings his family had over the years of, Bigfoot type creatures. And it just seems like that Eastern Tennessee area, there's some wild stuff up in that hills for sure.
Yeah, I'm anxious to get down there. I've been in North Georgia and Western North Carolina, but I've not done the Eastern Tennessee yet. So this will be interesting to be in. I guess it's a Cherokee National Forest is where it's going to be.
Okay. Larry, let's start with the beginning. What was it that first got you into the Bigfooting thing? What was it that first got your interest?
Well, I did when I was growing up. I saw the old Patterson Gimlin film in my hometown theater on one Saturday afternoon, and I saw it, and I was a believer at that point. But then I kind of, over the years ago, you're working, going through school, and everything kind of got away from it. Then I saw the BFRO's website and saw that they had an expedition coming up in Kentucky. And I signed up for that one, and it had to be postponed for some reason. I can remember then. And I ended up transferring to the West Virginia expedition. And that was in 2012. And I went, and we had tons of activity on that expedition. The first night we were out on the trail, I was with a guy named Tyler Bounds, who is big Northwest.
Yep.
With Northwestern. I don't know if you know him or not.
I've heard the name. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. He was our leader one group. We had a home run knock that first night, and I was sold at that point. I mean, there was no way it was anything other than something hitting it. I mean, it was like the biggest 4x4 in the woods hitting a big oak tree.
Wow.
And then we went out, and some other groups had a Class A on a thermal. Unfortunately, it was the only thermal we had that didn't record. I wasn't with the group. A lot of friends were. They watched this thing for about 10 or 15 minutes. It was tree peeking, doing their usual, checking us out kind of behavior. Then the last night, we came back and we did some call blasting with Monongahela down this road where we were at, down in off the Blackwater River. And that's where our campsite was. We did some call blasting up. Nothing really happened. We went back to camp about 2:30. We all went to bed, and I could not go to sleep in the tent. I was like, my bones were aching. We'd hiked so much. And a couple, I think it was at least two, crossed the river behind my tent. My tent was close to the river. Came up into our campsite and pushed on the top of my tent. I saw the hand
really
down. Yes, this was probably 3:30 in the morning. Everybody else was asleep and snoring. I think I was probably the only person awake in camp. And they messed around their camp for a while, picking up things, moving, rubbing on stuff. And I was scared to death. I mean, I was just literally terrified. And to the point where I picked up my key fob. My truck was right up the hill from me and was ready to hit the emergency alarm if it got crazy. But they moved on. The Bigfoots did. There was some weird chatter going on, some grunts. And the next morning I got up and talked to the other people there. There was 3 other campers there, 3 other tent sites, I should say. And we ended up going down to the river and found a partial print down where they crossed the river in the side of the bank. And so that was exciting. That was the 2012 West Virginia expedition. That was my first. And at the time I was living in the Outer Banks of North Carolina, so it was hard for me to get back and forth. It was a long haul. So I ended up going on a couple of expeditions a year there. And we went back to the same area in 2013. We had some activity that year, but wasn't as much. And, at some of these expeditions, you'll have tons of activity, and others you won't have hardly any. It's just, sometimes they don't want to play.
So your first, that's incredible. Your first Bigfoot expedition in 2012, you had a Bigfoot come to your tent and press down on the tent. That's some crazy wild stuff. I don't know how it can get much better than that. That I wouldn't have been able to get back to sleep myself.
I didn't go back to sleep until today. And Mother Nature was calling, and I was too scared to even go outside. It was scary. And the next morning, finally, we had some daylight, and everybody else got up, and I told them what happened, and they were like,
wow.
We've been seeing weird things across the river from us. Couple of brown figures that we couldn't really, pinpoint what they were. And this was days before any of us I didn't have a thermal imager. None of the group I was with had a thermal imager.
Sure.
If that's, he had stuff just going on across. One of the guys up the river, something had gotten into his tent messing around. We didn't know if it was somebody or whatever. So we ended up moving his entire tent down to our area and staying there. And the sad part is that area where we're camping, they no longer allow camping. It's in the Little Monongahela Wildlife Reserve.
Okay.
And I guess they have lots of people doing, things they shouldn't do down in there. So they stopped camping along the river there, but it's an awesome place.
Wow. That sounds incredible. I've talked to a few gentlemen from West Virginia. I've talked to, people like Joe Perdue, Dr. Russ Jones. It just sounds like the area, like people don't realize how crazy for Bigfoot the West Virginia area is, even to the extent like it's almost, as crazy as the Pacific Northwest. Do you have any thoughts regarding that?
Oh yeah, it's really taken off around here. I mean, you just go around to some of the areas down around Marlinton area and talk to people, and most of them are pretty open about it. They'll tell that they've had these encounters numerous years through their family, from their grandfathers, and talking about the wild man of the woods or whatever, what they call them or whatever. And Sutton is now doing a Bigfoot festival in June, and it's the second year this year, and it's amazing how it's grown. And the first year we were on like a question and answer panel, me and a couple other Bigfoot guys here, Charles Kimbrough from Virginia and Greg Lang from Virginia, and we were on stage for almost 2 hours. It was supposed to be only like an hour thing, but these people were just asking questions, and they were really minded about it. And so, Russ Jones and Darren Pavarnik were the leaders of the first and second expedition in West Virginia I went on.
Okay.
So, Russ is a great guy. He is.
It really seems like he is, yeah. Let's, just so I don't forget it, you mentioned that you were able to go out to Ohio to do some work with Matt Moneymaker. Is there anything that you can share from how that experience went? Okay,
yeah, it was at Pleasant Hill Lake Park in the Muskingum, I think I'm pronouncing that right, watershed district. And they had a sighting in their primitive campground a year before. So Louis Andre is he's in charge of he's the naturalist, and he does special events for the park. Decided to set up a thing, and he and Suzanne Ferenchek got together, and they kind of got this thing together. We had volunteers. There's 12 volunteers. We went out, and what happened was we decided to do, Matt wanted to do, this is like a project he'd been wanting to do for a long time, using a thermal drone. And so a guy named Robert Evans, he lives in St. Augustine, Florida. He has some really nice drone equipment, and they got it all together, got him up here. We all were over there the 1st of September, and we were there a week getting up with him. There was a lot of planning involved, and it was a whole festival. I mean, it was for the family and everything. They had a VIP dinner on Friday night, and during the VIP dinner, we were able to fly the drone and in real time transmit the drone images back to a big screen TV.
Wow.
So that the participants in the VIP dinner, and Matt narrated, and I was the radio man between Matt and Robert Evans, who was flying the drone pilot. And we were able to, we didn't see any Bigfoots, but a lot of deer and stuff there. People were able to see the technology. Unfortunately, at that time of year, the tree canopy layer was kind of hard to get down where you could see down in some areas. So we had to go along the edge of the woods, and it was really a great thing. I mean, the technology, the thermal imager was 640 resolution. I mean, he could bring it in, bring it out. And we flew 5 missions each night. We had 5 batteries. So we flew each 5 missions the first night. And the second night, they had a town hall down at the park. They had a big screen set up there. And the end of it, after the town hall meeting, where people were discussing their sightings in the area and all this. It's mainly in the Mohican Forest, Mohican State Park area.
Okay.
Yeah, this borders it. There's a lake between the park and the Pleasant Hill Lake Park, between Mohican Park, and so the people they talked about their sightings, like in a town hall, like they did on Finding Bigfoot, and so we flew it again that night. And, I mean, things were a lot smoother the second night. We'd had some internet issues the first night, and we worked all that out. And but the second night we were able to, it was flawless. We did so much more stuff. We had a lot more deer. We actually had 2 bucks fighting.
Oh, cool.
On the and it came out really nice. And it looks like we're going to do it again next year, the first weekend of October. We're going to repeat it. Matt Moneymaker will be coming back there, and it was a pleasure to get to work with Matt for a week and get to really know him. And he is so passionate about the research.
That is fascinating. It sounds like there's probably some plans in order to fine tune that in the future. Just you can have an audience seeing live looking for a Bigfoot. That blows my mind. I mean, that makes for a very cool future to do with Bigfooting. Or you could have multiple people watching, and
Absolutely.
More people are going to notice things.
Tired of long waits and rushed care at the ER and urgent care clinic? Next time, stay home and let Dispatch Health bring the power of the hospital to you.
I call Dispatch Health. A care team of medical professionals actually come to your house.
They're the same caliber of people that you would see if you were at a hospital or an urgent care.
Dispatch Health can treat most non-life-threatening emergencies.
They can do the x-rays, they can do stitches.
Urinary tract infections, blood test, urinalysis, ultrasound.
It's almost everything that they can do at the ER.
You never feel rushed. They're there for you and only you.
I felt like their only patient.
And it costs no more than a trip to urgent care because Dispatch Health is covered by most insurance, including Medicare. See if we serve your home at dispatchhealth.com.
Dispatch Health really went above and beyond.
It's wonderful to have care come to your home.
House calls are back, and they're better than ever. Learn more at dispatchhealth.com.
We all have a lot on our plates. Work, kids, relationships. And sometimes it can be hard to just catch a breath. When life is go, 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 it matters where you stay. Hilton's family of brands has team members dedicated to making you feel truly cared for, so you can mentally check out before you even check in. Take the break you deserve and book your next stay on Hilton.com. Hilton, for the stay.
Logically than just one person looking at the footage, and it could get really, really cool.
Yeah, they were able to tell us where things were because we're looking at TV, a phone-sized screen, and or laptop, and we're not able to see the full projection. And they were telling us to go right, go left, and so we'd have the drone go right, left, and it was really amazing.
That is awesome. Yeah, Matt has some very interesting, forward-thinking ideas when it comes to utilizing technology and Bigfoot research. And hopefully someday I'll be able to chat with him. If you're listening, Matt, hey, the offer is always open. Well, let's talk some more about your expeditions over the years, Larry. That first expedition, you had some really crazy things happen. Was it a thing where did things get even more wild over the years at different expeditions, or was that 2012 kind of the epitome of how wild things got for you?
Well, like I said, some years you'll get knocks and howls. I really get into recording audio, and I've had some audio. We do a thing called long duration recorders, put those out. They'll record 30 days for 9 or 10 hours a night on a set of batteries that we've got set up. So I've done some audio. Plus, I had a Class A sighting in Land Between the Lakes in 2019.
Oh, I'd be interested in that.
Charlie Raymond had a big BFRO expedition in Land Between the Lakes, and I was actually able to catch one, or not catch one, but get to watch one for very few seconds. But it was definitely a big call, and it took a long time to get that Class A.
So listeners may know that Land Between the Lakes usually comes up when people are talking about Dogman, but there's also Bigfoot reported in that area in Kentucky, correct, Larry?
Absolutely, yeah. We were on the it's the land between Kentucky and Barkley Lake.
Sure.
It's forested area. It's protected area, and there's a lot of dogman. There was the alleged monster that killed the people that no one seems to find a lot of evidence about now, but it was rumors that went around. But we went there 2 years, and we had the first year we had a little bit of activity. The second year we had quite a bit of activity with knocks and a lot of knocks in that area. And then the night I saw, we had split the group up. There was the intersection of two Forest Service roads, and we decided myself and another guy stayed at the crossroads of the roads, and then we split up in 4 different groups. One went north, south, east, and west, and went down, and then we had timed. We were going to do timed knocks between the four. Every 15 minutes, a group was going to do knocks. After the second group, we had knocks right across the road from us. I mean, me and the other gentleman, and they were close. So I got up, walked over to the road and the main intersection, and was therming down where the knocks were coming at. And I happened to look down the road going to the south, and we had 2 girls down there. They were down about 150, 200 yards down the road. And I noticed they turned on their white light, which kind of spooked me. I opened, there was a lot of activity going on. We had the hair on our necks, that syndrome kind of coming up or kicking in. It there was a lot of activity going on. And they turned their white lights. When they did, it illuminated up the road, and the Bigfoot crossed the road about halfway between me and them, went across the road. And it was huge and fast. And I was just very lucky that they had illuminated with white light. Right. It actually shone, and it came through there, and it was pretty amazing. We reenacted it a couple of times. And
okay.
I think Charlie has my interview on his YouTube with the Kentucky Bigfoot Research
Awesome.
Organization.
Yeah, very good. I'll have to definitely check that out. So you saw the Bigfoot cross the road illuminated by white light, correct?
By white light, yes.
So, thinking back to that time, were you able to, see things pretty clear? Did you see anything about its face, or what are some details maybe you remember about it?
Just the broadness of its shoulders, the length of its arms, and the way it walked. It was hunched over. I won't say walk. It was moving pretty quick. It crossed a 25-foot area in about 3 steps.
Wow.
And extremely fast. I didn't see the facial details. And, but it was no doubt in my mind what I saw. That's the only thing it could have been. I mean, it was just, the size of it and the quickness it moved, and quiet. I think what happened when they turned on the white light, it had been kind of probably in that area where we heard the knocks. It came out of that area. It came across. I think we spooked it when the white lights turned on. They were actually illuminating the ground. They found what they thought was a track there, and were looking at it with the white light. They couldn't see it very good with their red lights that we use at night on hikes. And so I was actually get a good glimpse of it, good look at it.
That is incredible. Do you over the years when you're going on different expeditions, do you ever find, do you ever encounter anything that is weird, but definitely not Bigfoot? Do you ever run across the paths of any other, could be cryptids or other weird things in the woods?
Orbs.
Really?
Yes. We had a lot of orbs, especially in Land Between the Lakes. We were actually watching one the night that we saw the Bigfoot. There was a red one up in the trees where we were watching, and people encountered them the entire expedition down there. Both years we had orbs. That's about the only other thing we had actually an orb go near. There's a lot of cemeteries in the Land Between the Lakes, old family plots and stuff and had one of the groups, a really good researcher was there, investigator, and had them saw them. So it was, they were just a lot of orbs. We get them just about everywhere we go, it seems like.
You had mentioned when you're talking about Land Between the Lakes, I believe you said that it was the ledge monster. Is that correct?
The what now?
You had said that there were reports of some kind of monster beside the Dogman.
Yeah, well, they weren't sure whether it was a Dogman or Bigfoot or whatever. There was a group of campers killed.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yep.
That old legend. I think you probably heard
the
that
infamous legend, I believe, from the 1980s of the campground. It was pretty much a massacre in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, they said there were bodies in the trees and everything.
Good. Not good. No.
No one's able to find any evidence with the police department.
Exactly. That's the tricky thing about that. And I know that is opening up a can of worms with some listeners, and I may get some emails, which I welcome. The Dogman community is very, very passionate, and they're doing some great research down there for sure. Are you still actively going on Bigfoot expeditions, Larry?
Oh, yes. I've got a couple more coming up. And actually, I'm going to be hosting a BFRO West Virginia expedition next September, 14th to 17th. And I'll have it here. I can't give the location, but It'll be in a great spot. And that's open for registration now on BFRO.net on our site. You can go in and talk, and then we select people that want to do it, and then I'll interview them and see if they're
wow.
Group. And we've already got a lot of presentation people signed up. We got B. Mills, Monongahela, and Charles Kimber are going to be presenters at night. So it looks like we're getting it together. I'm getting a lot of inquiries already. I've already selected about 6 people.
I didn't know that on an expedition. That's pretty cool.
The organizer calls you, talks to you, and make sure we're not getting people in that are going to hoax and do crazy, do things that just aren't in the interest of the expedition.
I like that.
They send their stuff into Caroline Curtis, the secretary of the BFRO, and then she gets it back out to the organizer, and then we make a phone call. And a lot of the repeaters we don't call back. I already know the people that are repeaters. It's the newbies I usually call up and really want to make sure that they know what they're getting into, and there is a charge involved. I mean, we have to get insurance and permits.
Exactly.
So we try to keep it as reasonable as we can, but we have expenses, for scouting trips and everything. So,
in the last few minutes that we have, Larry, I've got one more question for you. You've gone on so many different expeditions, and pretend you're speaking to someone, maybe a listener who, wants to go look for Bigfoot, have their first expedition. How do they need to be prepared? What things would you recommend?
Well, there's so many different ways to approach it. You can go in and come to you. You can night hike and trail. I make sure you're in fairly good condition, which I need to get myself back in shape. They make a good tradition. Make sure you're, good shoes. I highly encourage people not to do it alone.
Sure.
Always have some. that's, people get lost. And, you can always have an audio recorder. Just have an open mind. Remember, not everything that happens in the woods, not every noise is a Bigfoot. Know the different night sounds. You know what a barred owl sounds like. Know what a coyote sounds like. And coyotes have got so many different sounds they can make. Listen for knocks and howls, and just, like I say, find a friend that's interested in it. Get it, and it'll get if you go out and start having activity, and try to pick out an area that it's active. You can go on the BFRO site, and we break it down by state and county where you're at. And pick out an area that's near you, and just go in and hit some of the trails. Most of the state parks and state forests are really, open to it. There seems to be activity in just about every national forest, especially in the East Coast, where we have activity in sightings. And, you can start out with just a red headlamp and, walkie-talkies and things. And, you can get into where you'll get addicted, and then you'll end up buying $1,000
right.
thermal imager, this and that. Thank God thermal imagers have gotten cheaper over the last few years. So, and there's some real good affordable units.
I love the equipment. Even if you don't see a Bigfoot, it is still a really fun camping trip that you're getting out in nature, and we all could use a lot more of that. So,
yes, that's 99% of it. Just getting out in nature and meeting old friends. That's a great thing on these expeditions. Is we only get together, some of us 2 or 3 times a year, and we get together and talk about our stories and our research, and we try new things, just to try to make it easier for us. At the last expedition I was at in Kentucky this fall, we actually had activity right in base camp.
Wow!
During a presentation, Monongahela was playing some audio, and we had knocks and whoops and eye shine right in base camp.
No way.
During the presentation. And
that's incredible.
Area. I won't tell the area because it's an active research area.
Sure.
But it's been crazy there. We were doing them at 11 o'clock in the morning one day, and he was doing his audio presentation, and we had whoops and knocks right over the hill right behind us from where we were doing it.
Oh, wow. That is incredible. I mean, what an experience that must have been. Jeez. Larry, thank you so much for hanging out and sharing your experience with Bigfoot over the years. This has been very informational. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Before you go, I always like to give the guest a chance. Is there any, things that people can do to follow up with what you're doing, or would the best thing be to keep an eye on the BFRO website? What do you think?
Just keep an eye on the BFRO website. I don't have a blog or anything, but
sure.
Keep up with the BFRO website. We've been kind of quiet in West Virginia lately with reports, so I haven't had a lot to do, but they seem to come in big groups. So hopefully we'll have stuff coming out there real soon, and you can keep up with, like I said, the BFRO website, and looking at the reports and just checking with the newest ones coming in.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for coming on, Larry. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
The views and opinions expressed are those of the guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Bigfoot Society. Any content provided by our guests are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone. Thank you.
Tired of long waits and rushed care at the ER and urgent care clinic? Next time, stay home and let Dispatch Health bring the power of the hospital to you.
I call Dispatch Health. A care team of medical professionals actually come to your house.
They're the same caliber of people that you would see if you were at a hospital or an urgent care.
Dispatch Health can treat most non-life-threatening emergencies.
They can do the x-rays, they can do stitches.
Urinary tract infections, blood test, urinalysis, ultrasound.
It's almost everything that they can do at the ER.
You never feel rushed. They're there for you and only you.
I felt like their only patient.
And it costs no more than a trip to urgent care because Dispatch Health is covered by most insurance, including Medicare. See if we serve your home at dispatchhealth.com.
Dispatch Health really went above and beyond.
It's wonderful to have care come to your home.
House calls are back, and they're better than ever. Learn more at dispatchhealth.com.
We all have a lot on our plates. Work, kids, relationships. And sometimes it can be hard to just catch a breath. When life is go, 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 it matters where you stay. Hilton's family of brands has team members dedicated to making you feel truly cared for, so you can mentally check out before you even check in. Take the break you deserve and book your next stay on Hilton.com. Hilton, for the stay.